Good morning, everybody. Welcome to our Change for Change kickoff. We are so excited to kick off today's fundraiser for our annual Change for Change, which is meant to make an impact in organizations to see a change that we can make by just donating a small amount of change, some coins. So over the next 5 weeks, students will collect loose coins until our CARES Crew Change for Change finale on March 22nd. During this virtual assembly, we will hear from 9 groups of students who were chosen by the CARES Crew Committee to share their nominations for different organizations they feel are most deserving of this year's Change for Change donations. From there, we're going to narrow down the top 9 to 4 organizations earning the most votes. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's speakers one by one. We're going to start with 10th grader Lauren COCKRUM, who has nominated Epilepsy Alliance.
As some of you know, I have epilepsy. Epilepsy is a central nervous system disorder in which brain activity becomes abnormal, causing seizures or periods of unusual behavior, sensations, and sometimes loss of awareness. A seizure is a burst of uncontrolled electrical activity between brain cells. Not all seizures are alike. When I first started having seizures, I was in 7th grade. My family and friends were scared, and so was I. After many doctor's appointments and hospital visits, we finally figured out that I had epilepsy. I was having multiple seizures a week, and I never knew when they were going to happen. But there are epileptics out there having multiple seizures a day. That might not sound bad to you, but those seizures can go on for hours. The pain after having a seizure is a pain that I cannot describe. The Epilepsy Alliance helps people like me pay for their medication. Epilepsy medication is very expensive on top of all of the other medications to interact with those to keep us stable. At one point, my medication cost over $1,200,000 a month. There are families out there who cannot pay for their medications and have no insurance to cover it. People diagnosed with epilepsy rely on medications to perform daily activities such as driving, sports, school, and many more. My medication keeps me going in everyday life. My seizures are now under control, so I get to help others with epilepsy, and I truly enjoy it. The Epilepsy Alliance was there for my family when we had no idea what was going on. They helped me get through all of my rough times and never left my side. No matter your idea, every effort and dollar raised makes an impact for the epilepsy community. Thank you.
All right, up next, I'm going to invite my 2nd grade friends, Palmer Elliott and Miriam Shametti, who are representing Best Friends Animal Sanctuary, and their whole class, Miss Seelig's homeroom, nominated this organization. So come on up.
Have you ever wondered about a time when there be no more homeless pets? This is the goal for wonderful people who work and volunteer at Best Friends Animal Sanctuary. This group of compassionate people believe that every pet has a story and each one is worth saving. Staying nearly 40 years after it opened, the sanctuary, which is located in the remote canyons of Utah, continues to be committed to making the world a kinder and more compassionate place for animals. Best Friends Animal Sanctuary is the largest sanctuary for animals in the nation. It is an in-between home for dogs, cats, bunnies, horses, pigs, and birds. The sanctuary also provides lifelong care for sick animals. Today, it is a safe home to around 1,600 animals. The Best Friends Sanctuary believes that we should treat all living things as we ourselves would wish to be treated. We can demonstrate compassion and respect for all living creatures. We can do this by helping end the killing in America's shelters. It comes down to small, simple acts of kindness and the belief that every animal deserves a chance. Won't you consider donating to Best Friends Animal Sanctuary? Thank you.
Great. Up next, I'd like to invite Evan Bradley, MISHA Cap, and Bella AKBARY, 6th graders who nominated International Women's Development Agency.
You've probably seen your mom, sister, grandma, or even aunt doing their everyday work. But have you ever thought of your mom being the president? Well, if your mom, grandma, or aunt ever tried to run, they most likely wouldn't win. Why? Because most people would rather have a man. International Women's Development Agency, or also known as IWDA, supports diverse women around the regions who are strengthening their skills, finding confidence to lead, and having roles in politics and businesses. Women are drastically underrepresented in formal and informal positions of leadership in Asia and Pacific regions. Through program partnerships, advocacy, research, and coalition work, they engage with women human rights defenders across the world.
The goal of IWDA is that women will have an equal say in decisions in their lives, homes, communities, and countries. IWDA is an international organization that is focused on changing the lives of women's gender equality rights. Women are often looked down on by men in lots of ways. For example, the political world is mostly dominated by men with barely any women working in it. More than half of the US population thinks women don't have a part in politics, or the presidential office is a man's job. Well, we don't know if this is true because we've never had a woman president. IWDA has a regional women's leadership program called WAVE. It stands for Women's Action for Voice and Empowerment. They address all domains of leadership, proving that women can work in important roles too.
IWDA has made a big impact since 2018. 45,757 people received information and training on gender issues and women's rights. 3,824 women survived gender-based violence, which is violence directed to an individual based on their gender. 3,083 women got the opportunity to have leadership roles in political positions. After all we've said, I hope you see that this organization is an amazing way to help women in our society be equal to men. We have already started to make change by having our first African-American female in office as vice president. We want a better future for the generations of girls to come, but to do that, we have to start somewhere, and that somewhere is IWDA.
All right, up next, we have representatives from our upper school student government, Olivia Beaver and Sophia Singer, who have nominated communities and schools.
Okay. Last year, 60% of students kindergarten through 12th grade were in online school. I know we all remember how difficult it was to stay focused, get our work done, and maintain good mental health while online. For many students, this was very challenging. That's where communities and schools comes in. 99% of their students stayed in school through the end of the 2020-2021 school year, through all the trials and tribulations of school in a COVID-19 era. Communities and Schools is a nationwide charity whose mission is to surround students with a community of support, empowering them to stay in school and achieve in life. They provide students in public schools the necessary resources that they are able to really see the world and the opportunities around them without thinking about the systems and barriers that stand in their way. They help students to build necessary social skills, and they strive to provide students with equal opportunities, giving them the power to change the world.
We are nominating this organization because as the upper school student government, we believe that this organization goes along with our mission to make our school the best that it can be. Communities and Schools strives to allow public school students to maximize their opportunities and provide them with the resources they need to explore the world. We believe that everyone should have similar opportunities when it comes to schooling and beyond. In addition, many public schools aren't teaching how to communicate. They aren't teaching social skills and ways to be successful. Communities and Schools help students to unlock their full potential by being immersed in meaningful relationships. These students deserve the same chance at having a successful life and future, no matter what the odds are and what stands in their way. When you place your vote today, consider the impact you could have on students just like you who live in our area by donating our Change for Change to Communities and Schools. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, up next, we have Clinton and Carter Wagner. Clinton is in 7th grade, Carter is in 3rd grade, and they have nominated Ocean Conservancy.
Ocean Conservancy is an organization that gets rid of trash in the ocean. I am nominating this organization because pollution of our ocean is a huge problem. It is causing sea animals and coral reefs to slowly die. Ocean Conservancy is actively attempting to keep our oceans free of plastic and trash by identifying the source of the trash and trying to stop it from there.
They also have volunteers constantly pick up trash from our beaches. In total, they have picked up over 220 million pounds of trash from beaches around the world. Vote Ocean Conservancy if you want to help save our oceans.
Hey, can you read that again? Say it nice and loud. Say it nice and loud.
They also have volunteers constantly pick up trash from our beaches. In total, they have picked up over 220 million pounds of trash from beaches around the world. Vote Ocean Conservancy if you want to help save our oceans.
Conservancy. All right, the next one, we have RUHAN UPADHYAYA, and he is nominated Anti-Slavery International.
Although U.S. slavery was abolished in 1865, some forms of modern slavery continue to exist. Earlier this year, our AP language class read Frederick Douglass, the narrative of a slave who taught himself to read and escaped to freedom. We felt like this was a very worthy cause and felt moved to see the modern day implications change for the better. At Anti-Slavery International, they look at those systems, those root causes, and do everything they can to rebalance them to provide people at risk from slavery with an opportunity to build sustainable futures. Freedom is a fundamental right, everywhere, always. Everyone should be able to make choices about their lives and how they live them. This is what drives the Anti-Slavery International organization every day in their work to make sure everyone can enjoy their freedom. Political, economic, and social systems that disadvantage some groups in society push people into taking risky decisions in search of opportunities to provide for their families. At the same time, people may not have access to the sort of help and support that we take for granted, such as going to the police for help. Anti-Slavery International adapts its response to the local context in all countries they work in. In Niger, it's building schools and projects for communities that escape their traditional masters. In Mauritania, it's providing education and microloans to women rebuilding their lives in freedom. In Senegal, it's working with the whole communities to protect children from local schools from being forced to beg. These examples are just a few of the impactful projects that this incredible organization has worked on. Thank you for considering Anti-Slavery International for our Change for Change initiative.
All right, up next, we have fifth grader Luke Rubinson, who has nominated Canine Companions.
Canine Companions for Independence is a nonprofit that places service and assistance dogs with children and adults with cognitive and physical disabilities at no charge. Service and assistance dogs change the lives of those who need them. And they help people live fuller lives. My cousin Ella is 17 and has a cognitive disability. She has friends and classmates who can't talk, can't see, have trouble walking, or have Down syndrome. Service dogs and assistance dogs help many children with disabilities participate in more activities. Unfortunately, many kids mistreat kids with disabilities and leave them out of activities, but these are amazing kids, and service dogs help them get involved with a lot more activities by assisting them in so many ways and building self-esteem. Sometimes even just having a service dog can get other kids to socialize with them and include them in activities. Service dogs know up to 45 commands and do tasks ranging from mobility, getting objects like a telephone and medication, opening doors, cabinets, and even detecting seizures. Service and assistance dogs also help veterans with PTSD. Training service dogs is a multi-year process and costs thousands of dollars per dog. Donations to this organization help with everything from dog food, leashes, vests, to the intense training classes, to so much more. Thank you.
All right, up next, we have seventh grader Madeline Carroll, who is nominated Caring Services.
If you don't know me, I'm Madeline Carroll, and for my Change for Change nomination, I have chose Caring Services. Caring Services is an organization that supports and houses veterans and recovering substance and alcohol users. Because of these addictions, many of these men and women have lost their families. Caring Service isn't just an organization, it's an investment in the community. They serve individuals who are ready to commit to recovering and becoming a productive community member. An example of their amazing service is one of their previous patients. After 37 years in and out of treatment facilities, Caring Services helped them to make the connection that Caring Service helped him to make the connection he was needing with himself. That was 5 years and 2 months ago, and he is still working one day at a time. Today, he also runs his own business, and that's a big step from 12 years in being homeless. They offer a housing program to men and women who are struggling with homelessness or are unable to have a safe home. Caring Services also works with veterans and provides a housing and treatment program for homeless veterans. This is a real life situation that people are affected by every day. About 7 million people of the age of 16 or older are under the influence of these horrible addicting substances. All of the people using these substances don't think about the life changes and consequences and how many things it can change. I hope you see how important this current problem is and consider my organization as one of your Change for Change nominations. Thank you.
Our last organization we're going to hear from, we're first going to hear from students, and then we had a very special, unique request from an alumni who would like to nominate an organization as well. So we're going to start with LYNDON Briggs and Mallory Atkinson, 10th graders, who have nominated Leukemia and Lymphoma Society.
Hello, Westchester community. I'm Mallory, and this is my friend Lyndon. We recently began participating in a program designed for high school students to raise awareness and fundraise for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. LLS is dedicated to curing various types of blood cancers, including leukemia, lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and myeloma. They are also committed to supporting the patients and families whose lives are affected by this serious diagnosis, a diagnosis which happens every 3 minutes.
Through scientific research, advocacy, and access to information, support services, and financial assistance, LLS is helping make a difference in the lives of others. We want to be a part of that endeavor. Both Mallory and I have had family members diagnosed with different forms of cancer, and we know that virtually everyone is touched by cancer in some way through friends, family, teachers, and colleagues.
We have chosen to support LLS because blood cancer research leads to treatment advances for other cancers and serious diseases as well. So we know that fundraising for LLS can help so many people. A very specific person we are trying to help is Maddox Vanover, a 6-year-old Thomasville resident with B-cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia, who has been named the local hero of the Triad LLS campaign.
We have assembled a team of fellow students and adults who are helping us with our fundraising for LLS. And Mallory and I had the thought, wouldn't it be great if we can include the entire Westchester community in our campaign? And that's how we ended up standing here today, sharing our endeavors with all of you, and hoping that you can help further LLS's goal of one day curing all blood cancers. Thank you.
Like I said, because of Westchester, I made so many wonderful lifelong friends. And one of those women is Emily Johnson. So formerly Emily Finch in her Wildcat days, which some of you may know her. We met in first grade. I think it might have been my first day. We met in first grade. And since then, there are very few memories throughout my childhood that didn't involve Emily right by my side. So whether it was, and really adulthood for that matter too, whether we were playing sports, sleepovers, mountain trips, my very favorite memory, we were doubles partners on the varsity girls tennis team starting in 7th grade and all the way through our senior year. And we were state champs our junior year. So again, those were my favorite memories to date. But there was never a dull moment with Emily. And also she lives right down the street from me in Raleigh now with her wonderful husband, Trevor, and they have a precious little boy, William, who's 18 months old. So it's been really cool to raise our kids together and definitely a full circle moment, to say the least. So last year in March 2021, Emily was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it has been quite the journey, to say the least. Her son, William, was 7 months old at the time. So I'm sure you can imagine how tough this was, you know, going through all of this, especially in the midst of a pandemic. And these are a couple of pictures I sent Miss Keever. The first one was our tennis days, and then she was my maid of honor in my wedding. And that is us hugging. So it just goes to show, like, these are lifelong friends that are so important now and forever. So she started her chemotherapy at the UNC Lineberger Center in Chapel Hill. And about 2/3 of the way through, they realized the cancer was growing. And so they had to kind of quickly switch gears with her treatment plan. And so Emily and her family, her husband, her son, and her mom and dad have been up at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston, Texas since early November. I think the hardest part was right before Thanksgiving, Emily and Trevor, her husband Trevor, dropped off their son in High Point, and then they drove up to Houston, and they had to be apart from him for 6 weeks because of all the germs and having to just be so careful with Emily. And so fortunately they were reconnected right before Christmas, and it was super, super emotional, but also very, very special. And I know a Christmas to remember. So she did receive a successful stem cell transplant, which we're so thankful for. And now she's currently going through proton-based radiation, which she started a couple of weeks ago, and she'll finish in a few weeks. So I've talked to her almost daily, and she says she feels great for the most part. I mean, it's, you know, it's a struggle, but she's not feeling any side effects yet from the radiation, which we're thankful for. And we are excited to welcome them home in a few short weeks. And you know, I could go on and on about Emily and how wonderful she is. Any of y'all that you know her or have known her, you know, I know you would say the same. So more importantly, I'm just really proud of what she's overcome this past year. And I have no doubt she'll be an advocate for future cancer patients and families to help as they go through similar situations. I was nominated for the 2022 Triangle Man and Woman of the Year campaign through LLS. So as you heard earlier from Lyndon and Mallory, y'all did a great job. You know, this campaign benefits the mission of LLS, which is to cure blood cancer and improve the quality of life for patients and their families. So as part of this year's campaign, my team, who we've named Team Cure, which stands for Cancer Underestimated, Reigns, and Emily, we're working really, really hard to raise as much money as possible in a 10-week period of time. And our campaign officially kicks off on March the 14th, and then it'll go 10 weeks after that. And so I'm just really trying to ramp up as we get closer to the kickoff date.
Here, and do you all have a tough job, because all of those speakers were absolutely incredible. And it's going to be hard to just choose one, because if my heart, I would choose all 9 again. That was really amazing. So kudos to you guys. I want to thank you for the speakers, for the time and the energy that they put into crafting these speeches to inspire us all to show a little bit more compassion, our word of the month in lower school, and to raise awareness to the needs outside of our own community, to show responsibility and stepping up, to do research about these awesome organizations, to help build empathy towards the needs of others, and to kick off our annual Change for Change act of service that is sure to make a big difference in the lives of others.